So today I kind of want to talk about advertisements. So I've been in this kind of space where I don't see very many advertisements because over the course of about like a year or two, I've been trying to simplify my digital life. I've been turning off certain things, using ad blockers, using, privacy settings and whatnot. And I don't see as many advertisements as I used to. But I used to be in that world. I used to be in the world where, every time you talk to somebody about something, all of a sudden you get an advertisement on it on your YouTube account, right? And it's like, it almost feels like somebody's watching you and writing down everything you think and talk about so that they can sell you something similar, right? And, it feels like that because it almost is like that. It's been from things that I've heard, and they were mainly headlines, so forgive me if it's inaccurate, but, Siri and digital assistants that kind of listen in constantly are actually listening for keywords, and they're recording those keywords, and then they can use that as like aggregated data that they then use to send you, the advertisements. So when I'm thinking about stuff like that, there's an escape. Like, some people feel like, oh, well, it's just, woe is me, whatever. There's an escape. Like, you can go in to your YouTube settings and turn off recommendations and turn off, all this stuff. And you can go into your Facebook and go into your settings, look at the place where it tells you about their partners who can have your data and who can advertise with you, and you can one by one go through it and turn it off. Really, they need to have a get rid of all button, but they don't. So I sat there, give yourself a good 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how quickly you can click on little toggles, and just turn off all those things on Facebook. Additional stuff, if you don't trust Facebook to keep its word, is you can get a walled Facebook extension. I can't remember the name of the one that I use right now, but basically, every time you go to a website, they ask you if you want to get some cookies, and a lot of times it's necessary cookies, right? Sometimes they're optional, but always go for the no cookies if possible, and then if you have to have one to use the website to make it function, then just the necessary cookies. And use a browser that will automatically delete your cookies when you leave the browser, because you don't want to just have a whole bunch of cookies. That's just data sitting in your browser that websites can access, and then they know where you've been and what you've been doing around the internet. And when that happens, then you end up with those advertisements that seem like they've been following you around the internet. Because they have, because you've let them, track you across websites, and you haven't been walling off your individual websites, and so therefore they can just do what they want. Same thing with like Google ads and whatnot. So you can turn off your personalized ads. You can go into like your Gmail account or your Google account, whatever, and you can turn off certain recommendations and targeted advertising. So once you've done that, that's just kind of like the first layer. You've already let them know, like, hey, I don't want my ads to be personalized. Okay. So good. All right. Well, we're still going to serve you ads. They're just not going to be personalized. All right. Well, sometimes you'll end up with advertisements that you don't want to see that kind of advertisement at all. And in that case, I know on Facebook, they have like a little button you can push, and you can train Facebook to give you a feed that has fewer of the things that you don't like. All right. And that's not just like, oh, well, I need to leave a dislike on the post. No, that's hide this post, or delete this post, or report this post, or block this person, and you can kind of train it to only give you the kind of content that you want, right? And that's still not ideal, because they're still serving you content, algorithmically, which is, in my view, it's a form of advertisement. But it's more like an advertisement to keep your attention. And you can train it to at least do it on subjects and materials that you prefer to see. You can stop interacting with posts that go against your principles. Stop interacting with them at all. If you comment on them, you're going to see more of them. If you dislike them, you're going to see more of them, because that's the kind of content that you engage with. And it doesn't matter to Facebook or Google or whoever whether you positively engage with it or you negatively engage with it. You're still engaging. So yeah, so that's the first couple of steps, right? Even better than that, there are also extensions that you can add to, like, let's say you're using Firefox or Tor. You can add these extensions that not only block the advertisements like uBlock Origin, but you can also get feed restrictors to where when you go onto Facebook, usually you're going because, like, well, I don't know why you go, but when I go on Facebook, it's because I think, you know what, some of my friends have probably messaged me, or, you know, for business reasons, you know, somebody might have commented on a post or a listing, or someone might have messaged me saying they want to buy the listing. So in those instances, really what I want to do is hop on there, go directly to Facebook Messenger, and see what's in my inbox, right? And so there are a couple ways we can deal with this. There are extensions that will just basically remove your news feed altogether. Or you can bookmark specifically the URL that will lead you directly to the Messenger app, right? Because, you know, Facebook does have its uses. It's useful in certain senses. And if you're doing business, you probably are using Facebook as well to send advertisements out, because, you know, everybody's on Facebook for the most part. Not everybody, but you know what I mean. Like, it's been around long enough. It has that first mover advantage in terms of that kind of social network. So it has a lot of staying power, and it goes across Instagram and Meta, all that stuff. Anyway, so that's the next step if you want to go deeper into getting rid of advertisements out of your life. And then also look at your apps. Look at all the apps that you have on your phone, right? I was talking mainly about websites there, but you probably have apps for this too. Check those settings as well. See if you can turn off personalized advertisements. Ask yourself, do I really need this app, or is this a time waster app, or is this a sell me something app? Do you really need the Amazon app? I'd argue no, you don't. You can just log into Amazon when you need to buy something for sure, and then browse on that, because the Amazon app is going to be tracking your stuff, sending you notifications, you know, getting you to buy something that you didn't plan on buying. And a lot of people end up in that kind of compulsive shopper cycle where, you know, the anticipation is really what you want. You know, oh, I have a package coming. But then you get the package and it's like, okay, well, now I have it. I want that feeling again, you know? And I feel that too sometimes when I do buy something. It's like, oh man, something's coming, it's going to make my life great. You know, these suspenders, for instance, I was anticipating these suspenders arriving when I bought them. And I got really excited every time I went to go check the mail. I'm like, oh, is it today? Nope, it's not here yet. Oh, is it today? No, it's not here yet. And then it finally got here, and I was excited to see them. I was excited to put them on and use them. But, you know, after a certain amount of time, and it's different for each person, you need that dopamine hit again. And thankfully, I have the conscientiousness to think, you know what, that's just like my natural, you know, brain response to receiving things and the anticipation of receiving things. That's not actually like, oh, I need to buy something else, right? So, and I can turn that off because I don't have the Amazon app sitting on my phone telling me actually you do need this thing. Same thing with things like Temu. Like, they're designed to just keep you shopping and keep you scrolling and shopping and scrolling and shopping forever, because that's what they were designed to do. Like, and it's nothing against them. They're doing what they are designed to do, to make money. But, you know, you can't let that affect your life and your brain and your being. You know, you gotta get some separation. So anyway, so delete the apps that you really don't need. You probably only need a few apps on your phone. I've got like maybe, I want to say 27 or so apps on my phone that I actually use. And those are ones that either I can't delete, or I can't really do business without, like, you know, certain things. You know, being a real estate agent, you got to have like your e-key app, so I can't get rid of that one. And then, you know, like banking apps for doing check deposit and stuff, that kind of thing is just too convenient. Like, you know, I could find a way. Maybe I will find a way one day to just do it online and not have to use the app. But yeah, it's you gotta pick your battles. Like, it's your phone, it's your device, it's your tablet, it's your laptop, it's your iPad. Act like it. You know, you don't have to give all this information, all this data. Like, go in your permissions. Like, after this video, go into your permissions settings and see which applications are looking at your location right now. Some of them, it'll be like, okay, well, that's fair. Google Maps needs my location so it can give me real-time driving instructions. Like, that's fair enough. But some of them, like, why does McDonald's need to know where you are? You know, is that really something that is necessary? Do they need to know that I'm going to the Burger King so they can send me an advertisement so that I'll go to McDonald's instead? You know, look at your notifications. Who has permission to send you a notification? Turn those off. Like, why do you need all these notifications? And like, emails are a big thing too, because that's one of the apps that I do have to keep for work and stuff. You know, my Gmail account. But some of my accounts, I've just had them so long that they end up on these like data broker lists, and you know it because they end up just sending you random stuff that you don't want anymore. Like, I had a very conservative phase back in high school, and I signed up for a bunch of like some like these gun giveaways. Like, they were never going to send me a gun, and if they were sending out actual guns, they weren't going to give it to a kid in high school, right? That would just be silly. But I signed up for their newsletters so that I could get get in their drawing, and of course they ended up putting me on the like listserv or whatever it's called for a whole bunch of other conservative talking things, and now they just constantly send it to me. They always send it from a different email, so every time I block an email, it doesn't matter because they can just find another email to send it from, etc. So now that's kind of like my junk email, that if I know that somebody's gonna probably sell my data, I'll use that email, and that's just kind of my junk email now. Whereas then I have my professional email, my personal email, and a couple other professional emails that I need to use. But like, clean it up, man. Go through, and some of them will be very respectful. And if you click the unsubscribe button down there and you tell them that, I don't want to receive this kind of email anymore, only send me like receipts and stuff, then they'll stop sending you the marketing emails. They're, perfect gentlemen and ladies. And, we can do business with them. But then there are people who won't listen to that, and they'll just send you stuff anyway. And that stuff, you can just kind of try to train your email app to send that to spam. But, so that's another form of advertisement with the emails and stuff. So far, we've talked about online advertisement. We've talked about Facebook. We've talked about Google. I don't really use TikTok, but I'm sure that they have stuff like that too. But on the point of TikTok, and of course every other shorts style video algorithm, they are going to be trying to serve you a bunch of sponsorships too, right? You can't just take everybody at face value on these video apps, because a lot of people want to be influencers, and when they do end up being influencers, they get these brand deals, and so these sponsors are out here paying people to just make content. And even if you block the ads, sometimes the algorithm will give you seemingly a normal person, a regular person posting, regular content creator, but they've got all these sponsors backing them. And, good on them, they're getting their money. But that doesn't mean that you have to sit there and listen to it, right? You're your own person. You can train your algorithm to not do that stuff. I'm sure they probably have similar settings where you can go in and turn off, like targeted advertising and whatnot. And I'm sure there's a similar extension as the YouTube feed remover that will just take out those kind of sponsored videos. There's also different APIs for programs that will like skip past the sponsorship in the video. Like they can tell if there's a sponsor bit, and it'll skip right to the end without you having to try to figure out, oh, where does it end, hit the, fast forward 10 seconds 3 times, or whatever the case may be. So those are just a few tips. There are other advertisements, of course, that are a little bit more difficult to escape. Obviously, like billboards and things of that nature. I mean, there's not much you can do about that besides maybe just keep your eyes on the road. But, then there's the personal factor of other people talking to you about things that they've been advertised. And that's an advertisement that's really hard to get rid of without becoming like a person who just doesn't talk to other people who are exposed to advertisements. But because even if you don't look at the billboard, you know what? Maybe your kid's looking at the billboard, and all of a sudden, Chuck E. Cheese, let's go to Chuck E. Cheese. And now your kid is the advertisement. And because they've been influenced, and they want to go to Chuck E. Cheese's now. Well, fair enough. You got me. I'm a little bit less upset with, like, if you have an advertisement that's on your property for your product, that's fair game in my opinion. Like, yeah, if I'm riding by your actual building, sure, let me know what you guys got going on. You got a special deal going on? Fantastic. Put it out on your sign. If that happens to be a place that I like to go, sure, I'll take advantage of your little deal. Or maybe I don't, or maybe I've never been there and I would never have done it unless you give me a discount, right? That kind of marketing is fair game to me. But that doesn't mean I have to fall for it every time, and you can kind of take stock of your life and realize what things you actually do need and don't need. And then you can decide if you want advertisements or not. And you've turned off all of the email lists that you don't need anymore. And maybe, if you have a store that you really like, maybe you're a Kroger fan and you like to hunt for deals, maybe you just let the Kroger send you emails. But by that time, if you've already done the unsubscribe from other things, you probably don't want to do that. But if you want to, by all means, I'm not telling you what to do here. I'm just giving you tips if you're tired of the advertisements and the sponsor segments and all of that nature. Do I have anything else to say about advertisements? That's pretty down there. But yeah, man, buy what you need and don't buy what you don't need, and don't listen to things. Oh, radio. The radio, if you listen to it, is mostly advertisements, unless maybe you're doing something like a nonprofit or like a church one, where it's like more so fundraising drives, which fair game to them. They need to get some money and they don't want to do advertisements and stuff. Like, hey, that's cool for me, but that doesn't mean I have to listen to it, right? So every time there's advertisements on the radio, I just change the channel, or I find a channel that doesn't do advertisements. Because really, if I'm riding in the car, that's a lot of time, like some people have long commutes. If you're driving for 45 minutes to work and 45 minutes home, that's like an hour and a half of your time that's spent on listening to mostly advertisements. If they do like a 2-minute ad spot for every song that they do, that's like what, 2/5 of your time? So 2/5 of 1.5 hours. What's that? That's like come on, brain. I don't know, like 40 minutes or something. I'll correct it after I edit it. But yeah, that's a lot of advertisements, and you don't need all of that influence rotting your brain, making you make bad decisions. and getting you away from the content that you're actually trying to enjoy. So the next step is get the content that you enjoy offline. If you like a certain creator, download their playlist, put it on your phone, or if you prefer not to have interruptions while you're listening to stuff, put it on like an MP3 player. And then you can just, if you wanted to go for a walk like I am right now and listen to a podcast, guess what? If you don't have your phone with you, it doesn't matter to you. You're not going to be worrying about who's texting you or who's messaging you or who's emailing you. You're just going to listen to that podcast, and you can be much more present and focused in the moment. But I digress. I think I'll end it there. Y'all have a blessed day.